Welcome to the Maven Marketing Podcast. Today is Maven Monday. I'm your host, Brandon Welch, and I'm joined by Caleb. It'll be better the second time, AG. This ought to be really good because we have practiced it.
Yeah, all the way through.
All the way through. And somebody told somebody that it wasn't recording, and somebody said, it's recording, it's fine, and it wasn't recording. So let's see if we can do this one more time.
Yeah, this is take 2.
Yeah, we got a good night's sleep under our belt.
Uh-huh.
In case you haven't figured it out, this is the place where we help you eliminate waste in advertising, grow your business, and achieve the big dream. We are on episode 102. Almost an entire year doing this.
2 years.
Almost another year doing this. Sorry,
yes.
2 years.
And then another year.
Another year. We started in 2023, and we just get unreasonably excited about helping family-owned, owner-operated companies across the U.S. grow, get a little bit more with a little bit less.
Yeah.
And that's the eliminate waste in advertising part. Clarifying your mission, clarifying your culture, clarifying your sales strategy. And yes, those pesky dollars you have to spend on advertising. We have a track record of doing that here in our agency, Frank and Maven. We have the blessing of working with so many cool companies across America. And we've been doing that going on 15 years. I have, and then the team has been with us. Caleb has almost been with us 11 years.
Actually, by the time you listen to this, it'll be 11.
Last Friday
Last Friday
is your 11th anniversary.
What
11
day is
years.
It?
Yeah.
It's Monday.
That fateful day when he met me in a taco spot and said, okay.
Brandon didn't show me the office before I signed up to work here.
I didn't have one. No. It'll be done soon. But hey, today is actually about a thing that we kind of dance around a lot, but we haven't ever hit it on the head. And that is the educate the public myth. This is chapter 6 in the Maven Marketer. And somewhere right now, there is somebody in a conference room being sold advertising, and somebody is saying, well, I just need to educate my customers.
Yes.
If I educate them, they'll buy from me.
Yep.
And it's a myth. We call it a myth because it is. There's 3 myths in the Maven Marketer, but this is the third and probably the most fatal, simply because you could have the best media plan in the world. You could have a really nice, healthy budget. You could have good frequency. You could even have good targeting and all of those things. And if you make it your goal, as it often happens, to say, well, I'm just going to tell the people about me. I'm going to educate the public. All that money didn't make a difference. Why, Caleb?
The message is really that linchpin in all of your marketing, right? You start with strategy, message, then media. Message is that fulcrum.
Yes.
It makes the whole thing work or not work. And so I think what happens often in this case is in that conference room, somebody signs up to do a billboard, radio ads, Facebook ads. It doesn't really matter what ad it is, but they've signed up, and then the advertising, the media rep, whoever's writing it, building it, sits down and says, now tell me about your business.
Yeah.
And that's the first question they ask. Tell me about your business. And what happens when we do that is then I'm going to say, well, we're a marketing agency. We help small businesses across the country. We would talk about how we've done it different times. We'll talk about our track record. We'll talk about our case studies, and all of those are good things.
We've got 468 years of combined experience.
That's
even
right.
Though Nate's only been doing it about 23 minutes now.
he's been here longer than that.
He's got three of the 400.
Yeah, you got 23 minutes just in one podcast episode. So no, we what happens is you have those moments where they start asking you about you, and
instead of
not knowing that, and what they really should be focusing is asking you about your customer.
That's right.
And that's the difference is who are we actually talking to? Learning about their needs, pains, hopes, and fears. And then how can our product, this is where you're the third step in this. Where can my product satisfy those? But you only ask about it yourself in relation to all of that. I'm jumping ahead, but that's the high level we're going to cover here in a minute.
Yeah.
And then last is a reasonable next
It happens in a fraction of a second. And it's not that any of those people in the room are trying to write a bad ad.
No.
It's not that any of those people are trying to waste money or anything like that. But it is usually nobody's job to advocate for the customer while the ad is being written, unless that person fancies themselves an ad writer or a campaign creator, is what we prefer. And so that's the myth. You do not need to educate the public. The public does not need information. They need inspiration. You do not need to inform your customers, because to do so assumes that somebody was just waiting around to hear about your ASE certification mechanics before they would buy. They go, that was the thing. Oh, finally I heard it. Now I'll go down to the auto shop and buy something, right?
Yeah, we're just around the corner in our convenient locations.
Yeah.
That may be true, but that's not why I'm buying from you.
They were on 31st and Main. Oh, that's what I needed to hear. It's like,
well, of course I'm going to stop now.
And it's not that those supporting details don't have a place in the buyer journey. It's that that's not the thing, man. Our goal, and your goal should be to become the most liked and trusted. When you have those two things, you automatically become well known. And how do you become liked and trusted?
Two things that likable and trustable people do.
Say
things like that.
Which is usually to talk about
the other person,
right?
Yeah.
Nobody likes the person flapping their jaws. Nobody likes that life insurance salesman who sucks the life out of a room.
Hey.
You're going to need life insurance because you're not going to have any when he's done with you, and just talks about himself. And so it's so natural and it's so human. And actually, your salespeople and you probably do this naturally anyway, unless you're a narcissist, and you might want to go take the narcissist quiz. But we automatically size up our conversations and mold them to the person we're across the table from. So
yeah, and I think at the end of, once you've done what we're about to talk about, once you've written a strong ad and you've not educated the public about yourself, you should be able to go put your ad down, put on maybe a little bit of a pessimistic brain, and show up, pick up your ad again, or watch the video, or listen to the radio spot, or whatever you've produced, and say, I'm Nancy. Do I care? Do I even care? And listen to the whole thing. And if at any point you got bored, if at any point there was something that's like, who cares? It fell
Nancy
flat.
needs to feel.
She needs to feel things. And,
there are gonna be those few magical moments when the stars align and somebody happened to need a mechanic and they didn't know of one, and they happened to be right in front of the television or a radio, when that ad came on. But that is not what you can hinge the profitability of a campaign on. You have to hinge it on long-term likability and recall. And when we're not in the mode for information, we will not pay attention to it. Logic does not move people; emotion does. A lot of studies on this. The thing that happens when brands or people or places or things or experiences, the thing that happens when those enter long-term memory and they sort of bond to part of our minds that store long-term things involuntarily, is that we're releasing oxytocin. Chemicals are firing in the brain. And when those chemicals are firing in the brain, the same time that you do happen to mention your name, or maybe it's a hook or a phone number or website you wanted to remember, if emotions are high at that moment, you have a really good chance of it being recalled. If they're low, i.e. because you've been pelting them with information, kind of like I'm doing right now, you don't get that benefit of long-term recall. And that's really the entire reason to do advertising. Right?
Yep.
Branding of any kind.
Get all that crap out of your ads. I said crap. Get it out of your ads. Nobody cares about your credentials, all those initials after your name. The reality is you spent 2, 4, 8 years trying to get those things, but unless you don't have the qualifications to, if you're a surgeon, you're not qualified to be a surgeon. I do care about that, but I assume that's what you do. There are legal entities that would stop you from doing that otherwise. So
you say you went to school for 12 years, huh? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But those don't mean anything to me. They don't tell me.
They mean something in the closing part of the sale. They mean at the final safety check, the safety, and comparing maybe two providers at the end, but that is not in mass media. One of my favorite examples, and somebody here is going, okay, but I don't have anything emotional about my business, okay? One of the least emotional businesses I can think of is a body shop. There's no joy in going to the body shop. you were not there likely for any fun reason.
I was gonna say there's some emotions maybe tied to it. That's a bad day.
Sure, but, okay.
But you know what I'm saying.
We had this. It's a story I tell in the Maven Marketer, and I remember a long time ago we had this client, and he'd been advertising for a long time. Coolest dude ever. He swept the floors of this place when he was 15, worked his way up to buying it, and worked this place for like 30 years, and it was a great shop, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? A lot of body shops are great shops. You bring them your car, and it leaves better than it came in.
It looks like it did when you bought it.
And so, you're asking, we'll just call him Bill. We anonymize this fella because he is a very successful but very private individual.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's the conversation. Well, what's special about your business? Well, we are quality satisfaction guaranteed, and we are yada 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 certified. And it's like, and everybody else says that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is a key takeaway for if you were an ad salesperson or a consultant, like you have to spend time.
Yeah.
And so I knew I didn't have the thing. I knew I didn't have the ad. And I was far enough along in my career at this point. I was like, okay, I'm not going to take this guy's money and just talk about him being a body shop down on, Elm and Main,
mm-hmm.
and, for all your body shop needs. So I walked around with him for another hour or so in a shop, and I said, can I just watch what goes on here? And I had some conversations with the people that answer the phone. He let me back in the shop and talked to his people. Well, Bill answers the phone, and he's like, yeah, well, no worries. Dale will be here at 3 a.m. And I was like, what was that all about? He goes, somebody up front called and said, Shelly, minivan mom needs a car back by tomorrow at 4. And I said, no worries, we'll be at 3 a.m. And I said, when do you guys open? He goes, 8. And I said, what was that all about then? He goes, well, Dale has no problem coming in and getting it extra done.
Yeah.
Because we believe moms ought to be back in their minivan so they can get to the soccer game. And it was that thing he said, and it took hours to find. And I'm like, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so not many body shops can say that they have a Dale that will come in at 3 a.m. So we wrote the ad that was something like, it's 3 a.m., you're asleep, and so are all your neighbors, and so are all the other body shops in town. But Dale's here fixing the van so Shelly can,
get to soccer.
And that's an example of what they were really selling. They were selling back to your life, not your silly, shiny paint, not your multi-million-dollar paint booths, not your years in business. It was getting your car back to you in your life. And that ad, and he'd run ads for a long, long time, so he had a good track record. That story is what made the phones ring. That's he grew $2 million in sales over the next year after we ran campaigns like that.
Love it.
And so he thought, like most people think, it's just, I got to get my name out there. I got to educate the public, right? And it wasn't that. It was make them feel that you're the one that shares their values and understands what it's like to be them.
Yeah. Hey, quick timeout. I want you to run over to YouTube if you're not already there. Drop a comment in there, and I want it to have two lines, 2 sections. It needs to say, what am I selling? So body shop, auto repair, whatever that could be. And what am I really selling? And I want you to write for your business, what are you really selling?
Yes.
It could be, I'm selling getting people back to their lives quicker, right?
Yep.
Peel back those layers, and it's not the surface value of like a great car that runs well. That's not what it is. It's, being able to reliably get to work on time every day.
Yeah.
Or get my kids where they need to go, or whatever that is. So, we would love to see those in the comments. Drop those in there.
You're not selling estate plans. You're selling families that don't fight. You're not selling eyeglasses. You're selling being able to see your daughter's wedding in perfect detail.
Yeah. Your kid learning in school without a hindrance.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not selling weight loss. You're selling being able to chase your grandkids around the backyard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So figure that out. And that's really where you need to start. And the 2 ingredients that will get you the farthest in marketing, and we say it for every person that comes here, you have to have these 2 ingredients, curiosity and empathy. You got to be curious enough to ask more. Why? Know what actually is Shelly going through. No, what actually is the customer thinking? Not what sounds good in an ad, because what sounds good in an ad will get you ignored.
Yeah.
What feels good to the customer is what you're after. So, quick note for ad writers or people who are responsible for advertising working. Guys, this takes time. You cannot do this in your typical CNA. Oh, we're going to go listen to the client and ask, what does the client need? And then read them back in 30 minutes after talking to them, their bullet points. You have to spend time uncovering this person, this founder or this operator of this business. You have to be around them long enough that they stop talking about their product and you see their little quirks. You see the little things that they say that they probably picked up from their grandpa or some vernacular where they're from. You see, just like I saw with Bill, you see these things that they didn't even realize were special. Yeah, and you have to pull that out of them.
Yeah, and I think when you read back, if you do the basic, tell me about your business, write down a bunch of bullet points, you ship that to them, or you ship an ad that's based on those bullet points, they'll be like, "Yep, sounds good." Yeah, because it's about my company, it's about me. And that feels good, right? I'm going to put that on. Everybody cares about what I do as much as I hope that they do. The reality is they don't. Yeah. But you're gonna get a yes. You're gonna get great first time approval on that ad, and then it's gonna run. But then you're gonna get a lot of questions in 3 or 6 months because there's no traction happening.
Nobody's saying they heard my ads because they didn't.
They're ignoring it.
They heard 3 seconds of it and went back to their life.
Yeah.
We have spent, we just brought on a client, which we don't do very often, but we just brought one on, and we have spent 15 hours with this client before we've ever even felt qualified to say, okay, here's the plan. And we're going to spend another 2 or 3 hours with him picking up on his little isms before we feel confident saying this is the plan you ought to run.
And the poor guy, the meeting was basically over, but we peppered him with 9, 10, 15 more questions for the next half hour at the end of the meeting because we still wanted to hear more. And he was digging into that. So
third lesson there. Yeah. If you are buying advertising, or if you have an agency, or if you have a consultant and somebody's not taking that time to dig into your unique personality, your brand personality, the values that actually make a difference, you might have the wrong person, or you may need to send them this episode, or you may need to get them a copy of, The Wizard of Ads, or you may need to, say, hey, I think we could spend some more time. I want you to feel comfortable knowing me. So let's just the world is set up right now, listen to the client for an hour or two, bring them a plan. Everybody's excited. They say yes, and then produce the ad as fast as possible. And that is the root of waste.
Yeah. That's it.
And we don't believe in that stuff here.
No. So we've got really 20 questions for you. That will help you cut through the fluff, get to the truth. These are versions and types. It's not, you don't go through this list and read every question and get every answer to it. It's a nuance. It's a conversation, but these will help you get started. And we're going to just fly through them real fast for you. But we'll also put them in the show notes so you can grab it.
So number one is, what is the customer actually doing today? I want you to imagine this is a person who if you're selling a service or a high-end retail product or something that has any longer buying cycle than a cheeseburger, which is most products, they're not buying you today, tomorrow, or next month. It's probably going to be months or years before they get around to buying you. So what is she doing, and why in the heck would she even stop to listen to your ad? This is where entertainment has to be a factor. You have to as Roy says it, offer her a more interesting thought than what she was previously thinking. So imagine where she is. She's you can kind of think through the program it's on. You can think, is it middle of the day, afternoon, late at night, early morning driving to work, whatever it is, that's where you start. And you think, okay, what would I have to do to be entertaining? Like if you were sitting there in the car next to that person, what would you say? Yeah. What would you do? What would you do to be memorable?
What's the pain? This is question number 2. What's the pain they feel that your product can solve?
What are they feeling? What pain in their life? Yeah. They may not even know your product can fix that. Yep. Number 3 is, what are they afraid might happen if they don't fix that pain? Fear is a really powerful motivator.
Yep. Yeah. Number 4, what do they wish was easier?
Yeah. losing weight, probably, right?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, what do they wish was easier? Number 5 is, what would they Google late at night when this thing is bothering them?
I love that. Or what's in their ChatGPT history?
Yeah, modern version.
Yeah, that's the 25 version.
Number 6 is, what problem does your customer wake up thinking about in the morning? Like, what's the first thing that comes to their mind?
Number 7, what's the moment in their day where your product could make a difference?
Imagine that precipitating event, like the actual place they are. Maybe they're not even in front.
I had that thing.
Yeah, they might not even be in front of the screen. They might be, out in the backyard working or something, right? Might be when they have friends over. Number 8, if they got what you're selling, how would their life feel different in 24 hours from now? Describe that.
Number 9, what fear is keeping them from pulling the trigger?
Objections, yeah. Number 10 is, what excuse are they telling themselves for not acting yet?
Number 11, what do they think they need, and what are you actually selling? We've already talked about that.
Yeah. What are you really selling? Number 12, what do they dream of doing with the time, money, or energy your product will give them back?
It's a great ad writing hack.
Yes, it is.
What are you going to give them back to their life?
Yeah.
You didn't just save them money, you bought them a vacation.
Yeah. 13, when's the last time you heard a real story from a customer? And did you write that down, Caleb?
Oh,
did you write it down?
Write it down. Hey, your salespeople have great intel. If you have direct salespeople on the sales floor or going to people's houses or whatever that is, they know a lot of these answers to help you write a strong ad. They know the needs, pains, hopes, and fears of these customers because they hear them, and they have a rapid fire objection processing machine that's happening because it's how they,
There's $1 million ad in the mind of your salesperson.
Yes, because they had to sell it over and over and over again.
That's right.
So ask them some of these questions because they'll have a hack right into the mind of the customer.
And it's not just, how did that sale go? It's like, what was she asking about? What was she unsure about?
Yes.
What did she see in another company that she either liked or didn't like?
Another question we asked is, these are bonus questions we're giving you right now.
Yeah.
When they buy from you, why is it? When they don't buy from you, why didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, back to the list real quick here. Number 14, if you took out your name, logo, and phone number, would your ad still be interesting?
And would somebody still know that it was yours?
Yes.
Or would they think, oh, that's some sort of company in the category, but I couldn't tell you whose it is? This is where tonality, speed, vernacular, sound,
music,
your visual presence, the style of your spokesperson, music, logos, rhythms, music, slogans, rhythms.
Yeah.
Any one of those things on its own doesn't make the difference, but when you have a unique blend, the herbs and spices of your campaign,
secret sauce.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, for us, like some of our favorite ones, there's actually 14 of these that we have in a guide that we can put in the links. It's 14 ways to make your ads more interesting. But some of our favorites are speed, music, rhythm, cadence, white space.
Yeah.
And so you can pick any amount of them, just do them intentionally and do them over and over and over again, so that people come to know your ads as more than just ads. They came to know it as your scent, your
style.
Yeah, your calling card, so to speak.
Yep. Number 15, does your ad sound like a human or does it sound like an ad?
Mm-hmm.
You can smell ad speak from miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read it and you're like, that kind of sounds like, you'll naturally bend this way, unfortunately, because you've heard so many bad ads. Your brain will naturally bend this way. Also, ChatGPT will naturally write this way unless you coach it not to, because it thinks that's what makes a good ad because it's been trained with so many bad ads.
That's right.
Those are the kind of ads that are ignorable.
That's right.
So if you hear those, get them out of there. Cut them.
Yeah. What is one phrase in your ad that would make someone roll their eyes or go, I don't believe that?
Yeah.
Where's the BS meter?
Yeah.
When does it go off?
Yeah. There's a boring spot. Sometimes it's that you take too long to get to it. You chop the top, as we say around here. Or it's about 60% of the way through your ad, and you should have gotten to it and you missed it. You took just an extra 2 lines too long.
Yeah.
So cut them.
Guys, this sounds like, by the way, the last question is, if you were sitting across from the table from the customer, what would you say first? If you were a real person, talk to one person, not don't imagine talking to everybody, because you need to talk to somebody and then everybody will hear it. That's the eavesdropper effect.
Yeah.
Okay. This all seems like, this is a long process. It should be. Like empathy. There's no greater gift you can give to somebody than the time to understand what they're going through and meeting them where they are. If you do the same industry over and over, you'll kind of learn what the universal pains are for that product, but you still need to understand why you, if you are the customer, or why your client, if you're the consultant, is doing this thing. How does their unique personality, their unique value set beyond the product and the basic voids that it fills? And so you need to stop and ask your client, why are you doing this instead of something else? How did you end up in this business? Why didn't you go to school to do this? Instead.
Yeah.
What's something you'll always do no matter what? What's something you'll never do no matter what? And this is where you start to pull out stories that they're, dad told them, like when they were young, and you can start to peel back the layers and get to who they really are.
Yeah.
Because when you can help the public see who your client really is, and they can see that who they really is who they really is. See what I did there?
I think so. I think I followed it.
And it's the same as them. That's when magic happens. And that's when they go, my guy is Bill.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the other places are fancier. It doesn't even matter if they're cheaper.
Yeah, and you want to get to the specifics. These convictions that's what these things find. The always and the never. Those are convictions. They're passion. They're it's like, ooh, we were going to do this. And if you can get to the specifics of what those things are, it's not just we'll always do the highest quality craftsmanship.
Yeah.
If you can say we will never we will always measure your window to the nearest 1/8 of an inch so that you don't have any gapping or extra trim that's needed. Yeah. That's so much more specific than we're going to just have high quality craftsmanship.
Quality standards guaranteed, right? We're articulating a really, really complex concept here. Like ad writing takes time. You need to get reps. You need to go try and try again. I told somebody recently, I was like, I don't think you realize how many ads we write and throw away because we go, okay, it had maybe a few good bones, but it didn't hit the thing. And we're constantly throwing the ad up against the wall, saying it out loud. I'm going, Nate, listen to this ad, reading it to somebody, read it to multiple people, have a circle of people you read it to. Because if you're not like jacked to like go see what Caleb's reaction is when you read him the ad, like kind of my barometer is like, if I didn't make you laugh or like,
if you didn't make yourself laugh a little bit when you wrote it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not laughing or if you're not going, clarifying something really, really specific, you don't have the right ad. And all that is the inverse of the false assumption that all we have to do is educate the public. And I heard that a bunch of times when I was early on in advertising. And those happened to be the bunch of times that the campaign didn't work.
They just know about me. They'll buy from me.
And so your name ain't got nothing to do with it. It's them. And we knew that. And that's just a fancier way to say it's the message. But don't just say it's the message. Figure out what the message actually means. And real messages talk to people about their values, their voids, their needs. And hopefully these questions will give you some extra, tools to crack open and find that, but it does take time and it's worth the time because it's the difference in the spend going flat or you making a bunch of money.
Yep.
Hey, if you need some extra help, if you'd like some just a fun thing to do and bring your campaigns with another group of people that'll give you feedback, we want to be that group of people. We have started the Maven Marketing Mastermind. Right now, you can get an intro pricing, $99 a month. And that is your chance to get, say access, like, ooh, it's exclusive access, but there are limited hours in a day here. We've done this podcast for 2 years and it's tough. Like, thanks to Nate, the camera guy, we get it done every week, but it's tough for us to even do this. So we've made a way for anybody. You got a small business, you got an advertising product you're selling, you've got, just a creative thing you want to
maybe your
bring.
in-house marketing.
Yeah, in-house marketing. Yeah. We want to help you with that, and that's what the Mastermind's designed for. We meet twice a month, starting in June, which is now, and it's a free for all. Hey, I'm facing this objection from a client. Hey, I don't think this ad's working. Hey, my Facebook ad's not working here. Hey, my Google ads are underperforming here. Whatever is hindering your growth or frustrating you in the world of marketing, like, join us.
Yep.
Caleb and I will just sit here and have conversations just like we're doing now.
We'll jump in, and even if you don't have anything to bring that week or that time, you learn a lot just by seeing it through somebody else's problems. You may run into that exact situation next week, or maybe you didn't realize your Facebook ad campaign wasn't performing and you were looking at it the wrong way, or you learn from other people's questions as well. And beyond that, there will be a community aspect to this where some of our mavens, but especially the other small business owners and marketers will be a part of it. Yeah. And they'll really, I think we'll be able to swap ideas, share experiences that we've had. I think it's going to be a really cool thing.
Yeah. So it's mavenmethodtraining.com. You can sign up for that and be part of the first mastermind. We would love to have you.
It's going to be awesome.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, please comment. That'd be a huge gift to us. And share it with somebody who you think also could hear it.
Don't forget,
talking to you, media sales managers.
What are you really selling?
What are you really selling? Yeah. What are you really selling in the comments?
Drop it in there.
Like, subscribe, all those good things.
Yes.
We'll be back here every single Monday answering your real life marketing questions, because marketers who cannot teach you why
are just a fancy lie.
Have a great week.